Hey guys, Denzi here doing a deck profile video of Chaos Dragons. Now, a lot of people have dismissed the deck as sort of uncompetitive, low tier, and I've found quite the contrary, so I want to show you guys exactly how I'm playing it and why exactly it works the way it does. So, being Chaos Dragons, it's obviously going to have a fair number of Chaos monsters, starting with the obvious Blackluster Soldier, and a single Sorcerer. Sorcerer is good just to get rid of threats that you can't really deal with through battle, like Zenmains, things like that. White Pulsar Dragon at 3, because this guy's amazing, can bring back your Dark Flare Dragons and your Red Eyes Darkness Metals, and it's a really good late game card. Dark Flare Dragon, just 2 of them, because it's something to send with Future Fusion. It gets a Dark in the Grave, and occasionally you'll need to use this effect to set up. Dark Arm Dragon, it's pretty obvious with all the darks and grave control this deck has. It's pretty easy to get out, and it's searchable. Another searchable dragon, Red Eyes Darkness Metal. This is your main target for revival with Light Pulsar, and it's just all around amazing. 3 Eclipse Wyvern. This card is what does your searching for, Dark Armed and Red Eyes Darkness. It just sort of, whenever it's destroyed, it removes that card from your deck, and then whenever it's removed, it adds it to your hand. So it just works well with the chaos sort of aspect of the deck. So 3 of those. 3 Tour Guide from the Underworld, just sort of adds consistency. It makes Zenmains things that you can sort of sit on until you put your plays together, and adds darks for chaos really quickly. 1 Tour Bus, just you need the other tour guide target, and it sends back things like Maxi and tour guide if you want, just to give you more options later. And 1 Sangan. 3-Dimensional Alchemist. This card is pretty amazing in this deck, just because there's so many monsters, you're almost guaranteed to hit one with its effect, and whenever it dies, it adds any of your remove from play monsters back in your hand, which is just great. It's good early and late game, but especially late game because you'll have a fair number of monsters to choose from. I play 1 Thunder King. I was playing a Kawakimaru Drago, but that's only good in certain matchups, and Thunder King's just sort of solid across the board. And it's a light. I played 2 Effect Veiler because this deck runs a low trap count, and Veiler just stops a lot of things right now. And of course, 3 Maxi is just sort of needed in the meta, and it either stops your opponent from going off or lets you draw so many cards that you can set up basically any chaos combo with all the high attack special summons that this deck has. It also helps out with the Tragodia. Play 1 Gors and 2 Trag. Gors is pretty obvious, but the 2 Tragodia are good because they make the deck a little more consistent, and they work really well with cards like Dimensional Alchemist and Eclipse Wyvern, which add cards back to your hand. And another lesser factor is that this deck has a lot of different levels, so you'll get to use Tragodia's effect a lot. Alright, so that's it for the monsters. On to the spells and traps. We've got Future Fusion because, well, it's dragons, you have to play Future Fusion. It sets up combos. If you open it and get it off, you're pretty much guaranteed to win, because it primes your grave for all your chaos monsters, sets up Eclipse Wyvern plays, things like that. And if they can't deal with it, they've got a 5,000 attack monster in 2 turns, and that's going to cause some problems. It'll force them to waste their removal so that when you actually have better plays, they'll go through unattested. We've got 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, Heavy Storm, Hole, Reborn, Book of Moon. None of these really need to be explained. I do play Mind Control, though, which is interesting considering the deck plays no tuners. But with things like Trag's level adjusting effect and all the different levels the deck plays, it's pretty easy to go into an Xyz monster. And another thing is that in the Rabbit matchup, you can Mind Control one of the dragons and just remove it for Red Eyes Darkness and start a combo off. I play Torrential because just the deck needs an equalizer, and there are a lot of monsters that benefit from being destroyed, like Eclipse and Dimensional Alchemist and Sangan, even Light Pulsar, and then Dust Shoot, obvious. Onto the side deck, we've got 3 Royal Decree. Decree is amazing and can come in versus pretty much any deck with a trap lineup. It basically makes a lot of their side options void, and works well with the deck in general. It just makes you, lets you make your big plays without having to worry about back row. 3rd MST for things like Dark Worlds and Gravekeepers, things that side Dimensional Fissure. 2 Smashing Ground. The deck sort of needs an answer to Spirit Reaper, and it's good versus things like Fairies with Christia. Neospatian Grand Mole, it's a personal favorite of mine. I just like it because you can bounce back Exceeds monsters. It just sort of slows the game down. They'll be reluctant to synchro or exceed at all, as long as they know you have Grand Mole in your hand. And it's great with Decree because they don't really have many answers to it. Even if they Veiler it, you can just sort of let it sit there, and they'll either have to deal with it on their turn, or it's still a problem. 2 Fossil Dyna, because, I don't know, it's amazing. Helps a lot in matchups like Karakuri and Rabbit, where your Dragos don't help at all. I play 2 Cyber Dragon for, decks that go into Zen mains a lot. Wind-ups, of course, and the occasional Karakuri. Drago, 2 of them, because this makes matchups like Agents just insanely easy. And 2 DD Crow for Insectors, plants maybe. Now, most decks you would have to worry about all the Maxies and Veilers and Crows, but in this deck you don't really get clogged hands that much, and at the very least they're lights and darks for Chaos monsters. I guess I should do the extra. Sort of forgot about that. 5-headed Dragon for Future Fusion. Pretty obvious. 5,000 attack monster. It's amazing. Chimera Tech, just because I didn't feel like siding it. Utopia, Leviathan Dragon. The fact that Leviathan Dragon is in fact a dragon is huge. He just makes any tour guide play into a Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon play, and oftentimes he'll be the only dragon in the graveyard for its effect, and it turns 2,800 attack into 4,800 attack, and it's just a good option. Levier the Sea Dragon, you banish a lot of monsters. Zen main, self-explanatory. Trishula, it's a dragon. Scrap Dragon and Stardust, not only are they pretty much extra X staples, but they're also dragons. Got Ancient Fairy Dragon and Black Rose Dragon, also both dragons. Ancient Fairies, I've actually used this effect more often than you'd think against things like Dark World, because they have a tough time getting over its 3,000 defense. Orient Dragon, because there are decks that still synchro, and because he's also a dragon. Brianak, staple. Catastor, staple. And Armory Arm, because while the deck's only tuner is Effect Veiler, sometimes they'll have to synchro off with like a Sangan or something, and it puts that light in the grave if you need it, and sometimes it's just good on your huge monsters to get in some extra damage. Alright, so that's Chaos Dragons for you. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. See you later.